The Metropolitan Police have said any peaceful protester should condemn yesterday's violence. Let's speak to three students now. Hannah Williams, Will Hart and Shane Chowan, who's Vice President of the NUS. Good morning to you all. Hannah, you were on the march yesterday.
Yeah, I was.
Is there not a problem for the students now in that any sympathy that people might have had around Britain for you is evaporating rapidly after they've seen what took place yesterday?
Yeah, I think there's definitely an issue with the fact that although there were up to 30,000 students yesterday protesting, the vast majority of them in a peaceful manner, you know, it is a shame that there were a minority that did take that to a violent level, and I think that, like you said, you know, most peaceful protesters, you know, they don't agree with that, and they are saddened by that. But I think that it doesn't take away from the fact that the vast majority of the protesters were peaceful.
So Shane, what's going on here? Is it people hijacking what's going on, and what would you make of what happened?
Well, as has rightly been pointed out, the majority of protesters yesterday came for a peaceful demonstration, and we brought the government's majority on fees down from 84 down to 21 votes, which is as a result of, I believe, peaceful action. And I really hope that the public out there recognise that the majority of the protesters, not just yesterday but throughout the action we've seen across the month, has been peaceful action.
Yeah. Do you condemn what happened to Prince Charles and Camilla? Absolutely.
I've condemned every act of violence, criminal damage, intimidation that's you know, that these protesters seem to thrive off. I do think that it's not acceptable in the 21st century. That's not how I want to campaign. That's not how I want to change students' lives.
Will Hart, you're a student at King's College in a slightly different position because you are in favour of the tuition fee.
That's correct, yeah.
Rises, and you're quite pleased that the legislation went through.
I am pleased, yes.
How is it that you find yourself in opposition to what appears to be a large body of the students?
Well, I think really it depends on how you look at the proposals and how you interpret those. I personally took a look at the proposals, and I think that they are offering a fairer and a better deal for students.
Do you think a lot of students have missed the point, have not read it through properly then?
No,
was a
absolutely
suggestion by
not.
Lord Ashdown.
No, of course not. I think, you know, it's very patronising to say that students don't understand the issues, that students who are protesting haven't read the Brown Review and don't understand it. I think they have. I think this is just a point for debate. I think it's about interpretations of the proposals and whether or not you've decided that these are fairer.
So why do you think that they're fairer?
Why do I think they're fairer? I think that the new measures are actually going to, as opposed to what a lot of people are suggesting, limit participation. I think they're going to widen and strengthen participation because, you know, we have a greater safety net in place for the lowest earning graduates who won't have to start paying back until £21,000. That's a good safety net in there. And also higher tuition fees are going to lead in the proposals to higher maintenance grants to the poorest students and to the most underprivileged students who really need that extra financial support.
Hannah, what do you say to that argument?
I think there's lots of reasons why I don't think the proposals should have gone through. I think the main one to look at actually is the fact that, okay, you know, one of the sort of sweeteners that they've offered is that we're going to raise the threshold to 21,000. Actually, we're going to be, you know, doing that, but there's going to be a 3% interest rate plus inflation. So for potentially people that come out of university, perhaps they're on £25,000 a year, maybe a teacher, they're going to end up paying back more. And I also think that, you know, there isn't enough information about the scholarships and bursaries that are available, and with the removal of EMA as well, I think, you know, it's a recipe for disaster.
And that's the education maintenance allowance, isn't it? Is
Yeah.
that one of the fundamental issues, Shane, that students talking to you are talking about, or what is it that they're most worried about?
Well, the education maintenance allowance is kind of a side-along issue as to why students are protesting over the last month. It's not just about tuition fees, it's actually about the abolition of EMA as well.
Right.
EMA goes to just over 630,000 young people across the country, and it supports them throughout their post-16 education. The high transport costs that come with going to sixth form and college, the more expensive course materials that students are being increasingly under pressure on to get so they can complete their course.
We've seen several large student protests in London and in other cities against this. The legislation's been passed. You've made your point. Is there any point in carrying on now, particularly when it seems going to melt down every time?
Well, no, I think this is actually the beginning of a much larger campaign. We need to step up the fight now to defend the education maintenance allowance, save the Aim Higher programme. These are both measures to get people into university in the first place, and without those two programmes in place...
Would you support further demonstrations on the streets of London, even once you've seen what took place last night and yesterday?
Yeah, I think that students should be able to take to the streets of London if they disagree with the actions that the government are about to take. the abolition of EMA will damage social mobility, it will damage widening participation in higher education. The government have based this decision on a piece of NAF research. Like I said, 630,000 students get EMA, and they only surveyed 2,000 people as part of this research, and they've based an entire policy decision on one piece of research, and that's just not good enough for us.
Okay, Shane, Will, Hannah.